Michael Schjerling, welcome back. You're one of the first returning guests, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
It's an honor to be back, Doc, at the Fighters Mindset podcast. I look forward.
So do I. I've been since we spoke last time, there's been a lot of things happening, but good things. And I still remember the lessons I learned, well, more the wisdom about about adapting and how to deal with life, knowing that nothing's permanent, as you said. It was, I think that's what stood out most from last time we spoke.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah,
that's life. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, and yesterday's past. So we only have now and our ability to adapt, right?
Yeah.
In every moment of life.
Yeah, that's true. So probably by next time, well, I did an interview with one of your students, Philip Peel.
Wow.
So that interview will be, I guess that the interview will be out before this goes out. But that was
okay.
But we had almost 3 hours talk. It's fascinating.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry, I don't have 3 hours today, so we have to precise.
Yeah, precise. And I've had some been thinking about some thoughts that and so I got some questions, because this would Bujinkan suddenly it becomes more and more it's, I wouldn't say, well, mystical, but not the mystical, but more very philosophical. I think that's the right word for it.
Well, if you're confused, I think that is a very good thing.
Yeah. And
and especially ninjutsu and Bujinkan is it's about confusion and deception and all these things. So
yeah, I've started to, because I bought last year. I got one of your students, Alan, to ship me some books. The 9 Secrets, and I think, The Truth About Ninjutsu, the 9 Traditions.
Yeah.
And and the Great Masters. Well, the Secrets of by Stephen K. Hayes.
Right.
I think he was doing an interview with Soke.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So I just finished reading while I was waiting. I finished reading the story about Sasuke. Well, it's Sasuke, right. And with the Hakunsai Tosawa.
Right.
This one phrase where it says okay, how, what's the it was good that I read it, because it has something to do with some of my questions that I've been thinking about when it comes to self-defense. So it's the story. It was a short story where he got beaten by an old man. So this Sasuke, and then you don't have ice in the neck, and this old man, he was just laughing. So he said the truth and the secret about self-defense is being awake and alert, and it fits very well into that. Was back in I guess thousands of years ago. I don't know, but it makes sense when it comes to ninjutsu and Bujinkan, that it's about staying awake. And it was also, as Philip said, about when he got his Daishihan grade, it was for the future. So it's everything is for the future. So this fits in, So that was quite interesting.
Right. I'm very happy that interviewed Philip. He has been training extremely well in the dojo and went so many times to Japan, and he really is one of the students I have that understands the art the best. So it's and he has so much to give to the Bujinkan community and to the world in general, training this teaching women how to protect themselves. It's an amazing job he does.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that you brought him in and you know, exposed what he's doing. The work he's doing is really, really helpful for many beings.
Yeah, it is. And like, and I recall like during our chat, like it was more like a long like conversation, like-minded minds meeting, and the way like his insight and knowledge about Bujinkan, it was like, whoa, that was another weird, because like suddenly he was talking about books and things that I'm like, how to say, that I'm interested in as well, and subjects. Right. And like lately, since we spoke last time, like I'm now working on this anti-bullying program.
Oh yeah.
So it shares some, like, so we had like a good talk after we did the interview, and then we had a good talk after that. So yeah, I'm very and his work, the one he's doing, is so important.
So and your work as well. I mean, doing anti-bully program is it's really a good thing to do. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and like there's so much bullying going on like here in Norway, and I guess like all over the world. And like so I'm working on some like, well, like working with it, it's how to say, it's difficult in the sense like I have to go back to my memories, like, but I can go back to it with an open mind, an open heart. Okay. So, and like maybe parts of it isn't like that clear, but it has it, like, in order to go to dig into it and go deep into it, like you have to be open, and or for me I have to be open and like just embrace it. So yeah. So like that, then it's interesting now, like to look into Bujikan as well, to see like, because we spoke about like alignment and martial arts, and he told me like what was it with Bujinkan that got his interest, and he said it was this alignment, even though he had been training different arts for years. So yeah. So yeah, let's dig into what I've been thinking about. Like, I think it's a question a lot of people,
you know, digging in.
Yeah.
It gets me thinking that if you dig a hole, dig one place.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so let's dig in now. I'm ready.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, that was spot on. Like, same as a man who chases two rabbits can catch them both. I heard this saying, Confucius. So it's like, so now same but different. Yeah. So like, well, Bujinkan, like, people who doesn't understand, who doesn't understand like what's the, they don't understand the art, and then they're like confused about the practicality of it. So like, that's what I've been thinking to ask, like, since you've been doing it for so many years, you've been studied, practice it. So like, you have the practical, and then you also have the art. I have some questions related to that as well, but we can start there. Like, so like, so how do you separate it, like the art of Bujinkan, and then you have the practical, say, for self-defense and so on?
You don't. You don't separate it. I mean, Bujinkan, or the practicality, is nothing without the art. So it's the same, and it's not the same at the same time. So you know, it's like if real martial art, it's not something that we can see with the naked eye. It's something that you see with the heart, really. If you look at something that you think, wow, that looks cool, that looks tough, that is he's really a good fighter, then it's not good enough. I mean, if it looks a little bit like, what the fuck happened there, and then suddenly it's over, that is art, and that is you know, high level martial art. That is so the art and the practicality goes hand in hand. very much, baby. My wife just came with a cup of tea.
That's good. Yeah, like, because that was what he said, Philip, as well. Like, he mentioned some of his experience in when he was in Japan training,
Right.
with one of the I don't remember the name, one of the senseis, who passed away some years ago.
Seno Sensei.
Yeah, Seno Sensei. Yeah. So he mentioned this, like, it's like he was dragged into something he couldn't quite understand. He mentioned, he told me a story about it, like,
yeah.
But that's
so,
like, yeah, that's like, yeah.
If you are, I mean, of course, it's a process, and when you're young, you need to learn a form before you start to be able to use the form, and then eventually leave the form. This is what we call shuhari, like a 3-step model in Japan. And you know, in the beginning, of course, in the first many years of your training, it's okay to be very, crisp in your movement and sharp, and you look strong and you fight strong. But when you get older, you will eventually lose your physical ability, your physical power. And if you still try to rely on that, you will die. I mean, it's not possible. So you need to go on this. You need to make it into an art. An art is, what is art? It's something you cannot really see. It's something we maybe not even can understand. So it's when the movement starts to come alive, and when people see our Japanese teachers move today, they are all old. And our headmaster, the Soke, who retired now, he's not teaching in the dojo anymore. You cannot really see with your eyes what he's doing. You can just feel it if you are lucky to be his his uke.
Yeah, I think we spoke a bit about this last time, like, I maybe, or at least I spoke with Philip, like, it's like what you can see, and I follow your writings a bit. I think you've been, if I'm not mistaken, you've been writing a bit about it as well. So it's like, then it comes to like the problem, like, for those who like are training martial arts, and like they want to quick fix, they want to like look good outward, and
if it looks good, it's not good martial arts. I mean, if you look like a tough fighter in real martial art, it's in a I am not a specialist in sports fighting, but I mean, if you have a contest where there's rules, and you know what day you fight, and you can prepare for the fight, you can even prepare for your opponent. You can watch videos of him, and there's so many ways to prepare for that scenario, which is very known. Then it doesn't matter if you look tough, because he knows you're tough, and he is tough. But in real life, the guy who looks good or tough, he will be taken out the first. It's so easy to, in real martial art, right? It's easy to just, if you're weak, you just take a weapon. So I guess this is the art. It is to know that you are weak, and to be humble, and be a good human being, and then you don't end up in fights most of the times, right? And if you do, then people will underestimate you. That is the art. Don't look strong. Don't fight like you're strong.
Yeah, I love this. I love that. How to say it? Like, analogy. I think that's the right word. Analogy, like the comparison, because like, I was finishing a book. It took me 3 months, I think, to finish it, about mental, like how to think like a warrior. And it was like, when it comes to mental toughness, when you can like be honest about that you're weak, and like, be real about it. Don't look tough. Like, that's when you're strong. Acknowledge this, that you're struggling, that it's rough. That's the trueness of it, and that's Yeah, I think it's so important for when it comes, like, if you're gonna put it out to for those who are struggling with mental issues. I've been there myself, like, and I always wanted to be like look tough and look strong, but in the inside I was like dying. Yeah, it was hard. I couldn't acknowledge that I was struggling, but once I could acknowledge, like, oh, once I could leave, as you spoke about when I left the church, like, because in the church, when it comes to those settings, in many occasions, many times you have to be like, you have to appear that you're strong and like saying like it's only God testing me. But like but the reality is like it isn't like that. So, like, that's like how one can compare the martial arts to life. So I think like that's what's more and more fascinating about Bujinkan. So
Right. I
yeah.
agree. I agree.
So it's like but when you spoke about this like the practicality, because I think many there, like, they're judging, they're looking it from the outside. As the saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover. That's been used so many times. Like, they use it, and like,
Right.
I remember there was this guy. He was doing some Krav Maga stuff, and he had this like comparison of like what's the like best martial arts, and they put up like ranking. Krav Maga was, of course, the best martial arts for self defense, and then it had like ninjutsu. It was only some guys running or jumping around. Uh, but again, like, people don't quite know it, like, because they see, and no, it's not practical. And I've had a question many times, like, about arts, martial arts. Okay, what's practical? And then I have questions like, why does it have to be practical? Is it important that it's practical? But that's, I think, if I'm only like searching for that answer, like the practicality, I will spend too much time on it, and I will waste a lot of time. Yeah.
Right. Right. I think good respect for all martial arts. I mean, we should be now in an understanding where we know that it's not so much about the specific martial art. It's more about the man. You know, it's not also about the grades. It's about the person. It's you cannot judge a person by his grade, or martial art grade, if you're a black belt or whatever grade you have, or also what kind of martial art you study. It's really about the person behind. So the Imi Lichtenfeld was the founder of Krav Maga.
Yeah.
He met our Soke, and he went to see Soke's training in Israel. And then after this, he had a chat with him and another of Soke students called Doron Navon, an Israeli student. He said to all his high-level Krav Maga teachers, they should come and study Bujinkan after he saw what we do. So many people don't know this story, but there is actually, you can find a picture of Emil Lichtenfeld and Soke talking together at the internet, if you look it up.
So that's interesting.
That is from that time. Yeah, that's from that time.
Yeah, because like I think it was Errol, and he sent me some videos of Yossi Sheriff. Yossi, who's Israeli, and like in the martial arts community, they know like all the Israelis, they're practicing, they're training Krav Maga. Of course, for the military service, a lot of them do, and then but then you have like, I've had some guests, well, at least one guest. He's been, of course, done all the Krav Maga, and he said to me, like, in the interview, well, Krav Maga, it creates pit bulls. That was his. He was like, he said like he got a lot of course, people bad talking about it, but like again, all that leads.
I don't know. I never studied Krav Maga. We had a dojo in the same facility as some Krav Maga people here in Copenhagen, so I saw what they did, and I spoke to the teacher a lot. But I'm not an expert in that. But I talked to an Israeli Bujinkan practitioner that I know very, very well, and he said he's also studied Krav Maga, and he said how he's quite old, so he studied at the time where Emil Lichtenfeld was still teaching. He studied on him, and he said,
interesting,
if he could, come back today he said something like he would turn in his grave if he saw what Krav Maga turned into today. So I think maybe it has changed a lot, since the beginning. I mean, the martial art perspective maybe changed.
So if we're gonna be like, what's the word, critical, but like, or just to dig in to open that can of, I don't know, can of worms to say like, okay, when it comes to like what it was before, and then it comes to what we said in the beginning, like if it looks good, it's bad.
Right.
That's like how to like, and by all means respect to, I have some friends that train Krav Maga, and like for some people, I guess like that's good for them. But
it
I
looks
think
good in the movie.
Yeah.
Be aggressive and violent and be very visible and animated. It looks fucking good in a movie, right? In an action movie. That's what we want to see. But to see two persons passing each other and one is just falling down and nobody can see what is happening, it's not cool for a movie.
It's like, and I don't want to no disrespect too much to Krav Maga or anything, but but what it's become, of course, like, and I guess there's a lot of, they would disagree, but that's how it is. Like I had some Krav Maga instructors in my podcast, and like it's important to be open, but like then it comes to like, what are you searching for? I think that's a good question. Why you're searching for it? What do you want to get out of it? So like it's kind of how to say, like molds into like when it comes to values in martial arts. It's like the forgotten values, and like, and I'm asking myself, okay, why did I start? Why do I want to train martial arts? Why do I want to practice it? And when I was starting when I was 13, 14, like it was all about like the values: respect, honesty, discipline. So I know, like, if we're gonna move to next, like the question I've had, like thought, like, what are your thoughts on the forgotten values of martial arts among instructors?
Yeah, I like to go a little bit back to this about the practicality and so the martial techniques and methods and principles only works well when it becomes into an art form. But otherwise it will not really work for you. So it's not, this is what I mean by both and. It's not two different things, it's the same. So, and so coming to the value things, if you just train like reality-based martial training or fighting without values, I mean, this is definitely not martial arts. In martial art, you need values, of course, because otherwise it can be just a tool for training murderers and killers. It's quite dangerous techniques we study, right? If we learn how to use our body as a weapon or anything as a tool for protecting, of course, it's a big responsibility. It's if you don't have the correct heart, if you don't have a good motivation, then you need these values. You need to know what is correct, what is not correct, and you need to go into it like with a good motivation, so to say.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, and like this is why, like, this is what I want to bring into my anti-bullying program, the values. Because like, and I've seen like, okay, when I was teaching some kids, some of them were my nephews, and like, and if they don't have like their good heart in it, like if I don't have the good heart, the right motivation, I'm teaching them how to hurt instead of protect. As we said, like, I think it goes for both the kids when we teach kids as well as adults and even women, but like depends on setting and like situations. So like it's a big responsibility.
It is a very big responsibility, and in real Budo, we always learn from the teachers of Japan that you need to relate to every student individually. You know, when Soge opened up Bujinkan to the world, there was maybe 10 Japanese guys studying with him, but now it's like hundreds of thousands. So anybody can, you know, everybody is welcome as long as you have a clean criminal record and you're not mentally ill. Then everybody is welcome in Bujinkan. So it's very open today. It's not trained in secret or anything. So it's very important to have this individual understanding for your students and you know, give them what they're prepared and mature enough to handle.
Yeah,
it's a very big responsibility to be a teacher.
Yeah,
in that sense. If you do you get me?
Yeah. Like I'm just it's so great to hear that, like yeah, that's like the real like the motivation behind it, like why are we teaching, like, and unfortunately I've seen many schools where the motivation is not like this at all. Then it's like the question, why is it like that? And but it's a good question as well.
Yeah,
what emotion, like for many, like they have to ask themselves, what is the motivation for doing this? Is it to make money? Is it to this X set? So it's like,
yeah, my teacher, he always said that there are different types of martial artists, and he also wrote about that in his books and articles. And you should know, he said somebody is martial arts, does the collector type that collects techniques and historical knowledge and a lot of knowledge about the lineage or the branch of martial art he's studying. He can, you know, easily talk a lot about different subjects within his martial arts, and he knows a lot, but he might not be a good martial artist. You know, he might not be a good protector or a good fighter or a warrior, but he has a lot of knowledge. Then there are people who goes into martial arts to become stronger, you know, and that is also a very dangerous path to take, to just become stronger and stronger, because when you pass the age of 40, we all know that we will get weaker, and if we still rely on physical strength, we will die in a real fight. We need to know that we are not so strong anymore. We need our technique and our wisdom needs to be more mature at that point. And there are different types of martial. No, somebody goes into it for fame, for example. Yeah. That's also dangerous. Yeah. So there are different motivation, different paths to take. But what he is looking for in people, it's the right heart. It's people with good heart and people who goes in to purify their heart, to get, you know, even a more clean, purified heart, meaning the mind, you know. And that is about also, there's so many things in this, but the one thing that is important is self-control. Are you able to control yourself? You know, do your emotions get bigger than you? Or are you able to control yourself, even though you have big emotions? You know, like anger, for example, is one of the most destructive emotions we can have.
Yeah.
And if we not manage our anger, of course, it's very dangerous to learn potentially harmful techniques, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So as a teacher, again, you have this responsibility to see that in your students. Okay, this is something you need to pick up from the air, to smell. Okay, this person I can see is this person I need to teach differently. He needs to build up more self-control, and he needs to you know, learn how to manage his anger a little bit better. And then later on, he's ready to have you know, the stronger artillery weapons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting did you mention this, like, because that's some like forgotten, when it comes to forgotten values again, like, so
excuse me,
this comes back to the forgotten values in martial arts. It's like self-control. Yeah. So like, how have you been like working on this, like how has it been for you, like to get to this, like where you have this knowledge?
It's a gradual process, and it's an ongoing process. And one of the most important things is never to become a sensei. Always be a student. And I mean, the way I learned it was just by hearing the words again and again from my teachers. And always be curious, always train with your own students, and never become like the guy who stands and tell people what to do and just watch, but go on the mat, train with everybody, no matter if they're totally beginner or they're advanced. And it's, have this student mindset. It's really, really important. Otherwise, you will just stop your development and you will never learn anything. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. They're saying that, yeah, because like that's when it comes to when I'm gonna, like today when I am gonna teach, like I'm gonna be like that, to be the one who, I don't want to be the one standing like this.
No.
This is my club. Like you should obey me. But I want to be the one who's there with them, because like when it comes to a leadership, say to a leadership aspect of it, like you have to be the one going for, like leading by example. It's a typical like for me, I've heard like lead by example.
And it's very lonely to be a sensei. I mean, then you're on the top, and you also, if you again talk about reality-based training, you will be the first guy they take out, because everybody knows that you're the best.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe you are not the best anymore, because if you always stand like this and everybody else practice, I mean, then your techniques and your timing, everything will be very rusty. You need to do what you teach. You need to be that.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
My Swedish teacher, Sven Erik Boksetter, he always says, "Do less, be more." So you need to be the technique. You need to be everything. You need to be, your body, your technique, and your spirit is one.
So then it comes back to what you said in the beginning, that you can't have the one thing without the other. So again, it's like it's a totality of it all. Like you have the art and you have the practicality, and it's like a one unit, if one can put it like that.
What you call the practicality, I see it should work. That is basically it, right? It should work under any circumstance. And it cannot work if it's only like basic forms, or only like, okay, if this attack comes, you can do like this or this or this. Maybe you have 3 defenses for an attack, or whatever, or maybe 100. But it's still, if you have 100 defense forms for an attack, it's not free. There's so many types of attacks, and it's an ongoing. It's like music. What do you have in music? You have 8 basic notes, right? But from these 8 basic notes, you can play all kinds of music, even the music nobody yet played. So you and the music nobody played, then you suddenly play. This is art.
Yeah, and like that's what I see for me when I've been playing guitar for it will be 18 years, I think, this year. And like,
wow.
And that's like
you must be good.
And like it's so interesting with music, because they ask me like, how do you do this? Like, again, it comes to like been playing like for so many like hours, even though I feel that I'm a student still, like, because then I can go pick up something from Noah's finest guitar players and learn. But it's not I learn a technique, but it's more because like I think it was back to what Philip said, like you have like what you can't learn, you have to learn. Like, okay, I can show, or you can show me something, but in the end it has to be me who's doing it, as well as you're saying I'm following some of your videos on Komai, the basics, like, okay, you will show the basics, but again, you have to make it to your own in the end, like, but still you have to be like this, you need to have a student mindset. And that's for me, like, okay, I can think about the knowledge I got from, I don't know, years ago from some guitar players, like they've been doing it for so many years, but I have to do it in my own way as well. So again, it's like,
right.
So it's kind of fascinating with martial arts and music, and like, because I've been reading some of, I think it's Lao Tzu. He's been writing. He has this book called Tao Te Ching. I think he's writing about the music. Yeah, there's 8, or is it maybe no? I think Sun Tzu. Yeah, Sun Tzu. He's writing. There's 8 music notes, but then you have the endless opportunities. So it was interesting that you mentioned it, because like I've been reading it. So it's
Right. You know, if you put an 8 sideways, it means infinitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
this sign.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. That's true. Because like
8 is quite magical. 8 in Japan, 8 also means infinitive. It's endless.
That's interesting.
So in Bujinkan, we have 8 basic techniques also, and from them, all the martial art evolved from that. I mean, every type of martial art move, from standing to ground fighting to striking to weapons, everything, you know, is rooted from these basic 8 ways. Yeah, we call them Kihan Hapo. This is the most fundamental in Bujinkan.
That's interesting. Yeah, because like then like all these like questions leads again, like what we're talking about now, it leads into like when it comes to self-defense, because it was quite interesting to hear like how he was teaching the women based on Bujinkan, because like then I guess many people there, like they've seen some documentaries of I remember there was this show on, what's it called, Fight Well or Fight Quest, I don't remember. There were some Americans, they went to Soke school, but this is many years ago. And then you have like people in the martial arts community, they were like curious. I'm curious, like, because I thought I have to answer, like I was thinking like, well, how can Bujikan work for self-defense? But then like I heard how Philip is using it. I haven't seen it, but I heard how he's teaching it, and he has some quite interesting thoughts about it. So I'm curious about like your thoughts on this topic.
First of all, I like the word self-protection more than self-defense. You know, if you look at if you go to the animal world, you don't see an animal doing self-defense. You know, either you fight or you don't fight. I mean, when the fight is on, nobody is defending and one is attacking. I mean, yeah, sometimes a little bit, one can be on top or the other one can be more on top. So if we really use the word self-defense, I would say in martial art, it would be all the preparation. That is what is defending you from getting into a fight. You know, not going into an area where it's potentially very dangerous. You know, not going as a civilist going into a war zone, or back when I was young, in New York, Harlem or Queens was quite bad areas, right?
Yeah.
As a white guy, you would not go into these areas. That is self-defense, you know. And if you need to go or move in areas where it's a little bit dangerous, prepare yourself. I was many years ago, I was in South Africa, and South Africa is the civilized part of the world where there's most killings every year. I think it was 30,000 murders a year in South Africa. It's like it's not like in Scandinavia we value life, but there the life is not valued so high, you know, and especially when you come as a white person, it's yeah, they know you have money and stuff like that, you know, they just go up and they shoot into the car just to take you the ring on your finger.
Yeah.
So being able to go there and have vacation for 3 weeks, you need to prepare yourself, and that is the self-defense. So if you're not prepared and you just go happy-go-lucky, you know, then maybe you will end up dead.
Yeah.
And that is what I see as self-defense. You know, how to move on the street or anywhere you go. You know, be aware and be prepared. That is self-defense. So when the fight is on, it's a fight. Then you protect yourself. So that is what I see. And then also in Bujinkan, the Japanese word for self-defense or self-protection is Goshinjutsu. That means actually not so much defending of the only physical body, but really protect your mind, protect your heart. This means that no matter what happens to your body, your mind should maintain stable. This Fudoshin, as we call it, immovable mind. So they can tell you anything. They can try to bully you as much as they want. They can even punch you, but they can never force you to change your mind. You know, they might force you to say no, but you can still mean yes inside. You still know what is correct in here. This is Goshinjutsu. This is protecting. Yeah, then you protect your mind, right? So Nelson Mandela, he was in prison for, was it 27 years or 20 years or something?
Yeah.
And you know, he protected his mind by having good thoughts about the people who was suppressing the black people and who was suppressing him. You know, he still had compassion for them. That is real Goshinjutsu. That is real self-defense. He protects his mind. He managed it. That is at a high level, right? He managed the people who tortured him and who were murderers and, you know, like suppressing human beings. He still had compassion for them. He understood they came from, you know, wherever they came from.
Yeah.
So, because then you can still have a healthy life, because if you get angry, if you get afraid, if you get jealous, if you get worried, anxiety or stuff like that, then all the chemicals in your body will eat you up from inside. You will create cancer or some other kind of disease. Your movements will be stiff, you know, and you will all this. So self-protection and self-defense is also on this level how to defend your mind.
Oh, that's that's something quite forgotten.
Be happy and laugh every day. That is important. So when you laugh, the blood runs in the body, and the mind gets loose. Again, you're not stiff like this, right?
Because that's like, yeah, it's so much more easier, like in those systems I train when it comes to like self-protection. Like it's so easy, like that you have this like gonna be this motherfucker, and
this you need when the shit hits the fan. You need the ability to be like extremely furious, wrathful, and like amazingly violent. This, of course, you need as a martial artist. Otherwise, you cannot. I mean, if you want to protect against a strong enemy, of course, you need also to be strong. But don't walk around like that. If you look like that, or if you're always in that mode, like if you live on Zulu time always, I mean, then you will end up with a very short life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And these are like so important qualities to have, and like especially like when it inspires me to put this into when I'm going to teach victims of bullying how to protect themselves. So like So there's like so much knowledge in martial arts that isn't like, when it comes to the art as well, when compared to pure systems.
Right.
So
I
like
think what really is important when you teach, people who are bullied, it's really to teach them how not to be a magnet for bullying. It's you have the tendency to attract into your life not what you like, but what you need in order for you to wake up and learn what you didn't learn yet. So, for example, Philip, he works with these women who has been, they have been in very violent situations. Many of them being in abusive relationships, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are a person who have lived in not only one but several relationships with a boyfriend who abuses you in some way, beats you up or whatever, there is still something for you to learn. And when you learn that, you will never attract that type of people anymore, because then you have learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. Like
if you always have red numbers on your account, I mean, you always lack the more money in the end of the month, then you still need to learn something if you want to have surplus on your account. There's something you didn't learn yet. You use too much compared to what you earn. And when you have learned what you need to learn, the red numbers will disappear by magic.
Yeah. And it's like
suffering and pain is not bad. It's a chance for us to wake up. I mean, if I always is the baddest student, I mean the student who lacks ability in the dojo, I'm the youngest, I'm the one who has least abilities, everybody beats me up in the dojo, I'm the weakest, then of course if I learn what I need to learn, then suddenly I'm stronger, and then I get stronger by the years, and eventually I'm maybe one of the strongest in the dojo. It's always like that.
Yeah.
So like attracts like. Like attracts like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's like very fascinating, like all this, because like if like for me who's curious, like who want to learn, like if I don't ask the questions about it, I don't get answers, because like and like more and more lights are getting turned on, and like it gives meaning. And I think like that's a big it's a problem, like people who are don't like, they think they know something and they don't ask, and they go talk bad about whatever art, and that's I think would be a whole nother, like, to talk about like this. Okay, why is it that people talk bad about other arts? That's the because like there's so, like, for me, I have so many questions, like this and and like, and I like a little more, but things fall more into place, of course. So it's like
it's always interesting to have a talk like this. It can be enlightening for you and me to have an exchange of words like this, and maybe it will inspire other people to listen to. And in the end, it's only words. The real life, it's not in this podcast, it's outside. Right. It's the practice, it's the life, it's the living. That is the real thing, because we can say anything in this podcast, and we might believe it ourselves, and maybe some other people believe it, but it comes down to when the rubber meets the road, then you know, is this really working or not?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And like, so like,
maybe I'm lying.
yeah. It's like if we, I guess we have a bit more time. Of course, we have some.
Yeah.
We have some,
Yeah, I have an hour more.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So like, I don't know that if we went very deep into it, but like the philosophy last time, I don't remember. And again, like the values. So if you can share a bit more about the values, like the Bujinkan is based on, that could be interesting.
Yeah. Of course.
Well, it is interesting.
It is very interesting. I mean, where to start? We have if we cut everything down to the most simple thing, I think we come back to the good heart, having the good heart or correct heart, which means always check your motivation for what you are doing. If you're a martial arts teacher and you go into the dojo and you teach, what is my motivation for teaching? Is it so everybody else think I'm a fucking strong teacher and a badass motherfucker, or is it to give people something? This giving is one of the things we have as a value in Bujinkan. You know, it's very important for reaching the martial arts enlightenment, as we call it. It's to have this giving heart. And giving can be, you know, you don't need to have a lot of. I don't have a lot of money, so I mean, I cannot give money, but I can still, you know, help an old lady crossing the street if she's afraid of that. You know, I can give a hug, I can give a smile, I can say hello to people. You know, I can give compliments. There's so many ways of giving, and that is a, you know, that is a value we have. And by giving, it's like you also will get something in return. And what you give first of all is that it's really nice to give. You know, it's more nice to give than to receive. So your heart will open up, and you will be a more relaxed person. You will a lot of good things will happen to you when you give. So,
yeah.
That is a value.
And I really like this with a good heart, since we spoke about it last time, I remember, and like that's something I've been very like aware of people I'm meeting, and I think and like since I'm aware of that, like it's like I'm having this radar on, like who can, like when I meet people, like I'm very like cautious as well. Like I think that's like as I said in the beginning, like the secret of defense, self-defense or protection is like being alert and aware.
Right. Being alert and aware and prepared. I mean, awareness and preparation, those two needs to go hand in hand. You can be aware, but if you're not prepared, you might see the attack coming, but if you're not prepared, maybe you cannot defend yourself. So both of these are quite important. The awareness, the preparation. So then it was the philosophies you asked me about, right?
Yeah, but like everything, like it all fits together, sort of. Yeah.
Everything is connected, and without the philosophy should also be practical. So it's not something that you just like think about or philosophify about. It should be like you should have the philosophy as a very practical tool for your martial arts training and practice and study, and for your daily life as well, because martial art and daily life should really go hand in hand. But we have these 5 dojo-kun that Soke transmitted to us. I can talk about them if you like.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Just a second, I'll just find them here in my notes, so I get it. I will give it correct as I can.
Yeah.
I have them in my mind, of course, but I will make it more correct. So the first one is about patience. To know that everything is temporary. So for the nin in ninja, this actual kanji, it means patience or endurance. So that is one of the most noble things that we can be as ninjas, the ability to endure and be patient, and know that every struggle in life, every hardship, it will change. It will not continue. If you are bullied, it will not continue. It will also stop one day. If it rains today, it will also stop. One day the rain will stop and the sun will shine also. So every time you have a very difficult time in your life, it's good to remember yourself that this too will also pass. So endurance, patience, and then wait for the right timing. So the actual nin kanji, it's composed by a sword over a heart. So it will be very potentially damaging for the heart to be cut by the sword. But if you are in a very, very dangerous situation, don't act too quickly. Sometimes be a little bit patient, because many times the situation will resolve itself without you jumping out to conclusion and jumping out to actions and say, stop, and I need to control this and this. Many times lean back a little bit, watch the situation, observe it, and then maybe you can wait until the fight is over, or the conflict has resolved itself, or you can more wisely go in and try to regain peace and harmony again in that environment. That is the first rule. It's about or the first guideline, so to say, of our dojo-kun. It's this about patience.
And that's very it's very relevant for when it comes to de-escalation, when it comes to situation. Yeah, again, it goes back again to self-protection, so
does.
Yeah,
it really does. I know in the old days I worked as a doorman, and if you are like this aggressive, violent type of doorman, of course you're going around and you're looking for trouble. Club. And of course you will attract more of that, and you will fight and fight and fight.
Oh yes.
And sometimes you will jump a little bit too fast into a confrontation. And then that is dangerous for the people you jump into. It's dangerous for yourself and everybody.
And dangerous for people around.
Wait a little bit, observe, be patient, and maybe this will resolve itself. And of course, you should also have the eyes for when to really act quick and move in. This you will gain, with the training, of course. But patience is to be patient is a very, very important thing in life.
Yeah. I love patience. I love patience. I hate it, but I love it. So
when we are young, we're quite impatient, I think, right? We want things. We try to gain things, but with maturity, we should learn that when time is ready, we will get opportunity. If we work on the basic principles, naturally the fruits will come.
So true.
So that's the first thing. The next is that to know, it's the translation from Japanese is a little bit about to know that the foundation for man is justice. It's about having this correct heart. So always do what is most just or most correct. Not only do, but also in your speech, in your speaking, and in your mind also. Your thoughts should also be correct. So this will be a very important thing to always, it's a little bit, you could call it like universal justice or heavenly justice, having this view on what is really the right thing to think or speak or do. This is very important as a martial artist. Otherwise, you might end up doing a lot of harm.
Yeah. So it all leads back to what we've been talking about, like the correct motivation and like self-control and yeah.
So being a warrior, you know, as a martial artist, it's about warriorship. If you look at the Tibetan word for warrior, it's pawo, and it means to be brave. So you need to be brave. And what is bravery? Or, you know, it's about being fearless, really. And the most important thing is to not be afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid of who you are. You understand? Because if you're afraid of who you are, you will end up harming yourself. Let's say you, it goes for martial arts, of course, but it also goes for your daily life. If you go to work and your boss says, hey, could you also do this for me? And can you also do this? And then you say yes to it. And maybe you have a tendency to always say yes. And of course, if you say yes and you're good at your work, your boss will load you even more and more and more. And eventually you may end up being stressed and kill yourself. Yeah. Because you were afraid of who you were. You need to know, okay, this I cannot take. It's impossible. I mean, I also need to sleep sometimes. I also need to have breaks for eat. So you need to say no. Feel who I am. I'm not this camel that you can put a ring to the nose and just pull and then it follows. You know, you never say no. Please, everybody. So true bravery, true fearlessness is not being afraid of who you are. Not be afraid of saying no.
This is quite interesting. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that is the correct thing to do. That is correct. So, you know, Japanese name for martial art is Budo.
Yeah.
Who is this martial country? Do is the same as in Dao, from Taoism. And it means the path or the way. And this kanji for way, it's composed of 3 different components. It's oneself, and then above oneself, it's the yin-yang balance. It's about balance. And then there is another kanji that means to walk or move towards. So the correct path is your own path, because the self, and it's the balance. So you should know, what is it that creates balance in my life? This is true self. You should move in the direction of your own life that creates most balance.
Oh,
understand?
Yeah.
So you should basically just always, your motivation should be what makes me most happy and most balanced. You know, it goes for example, it can be super nice to sit up late at night and watch Netflix, for example. This might be this might be your lust to do that, but it's maybe not your need. It will not create balance. Maybe you will be tired and you will not be able to fight as well the next morning, right? If you do that every day, sleep 3 hours too little every day, or skip meals, or eat too much, it's not creating balance.
No.
And then you will end up, instead of protecting yourself, you will end up hurting yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
So all this is related to having the right heart, this just heart. It's related to also to self-protecting, doing what is correct.
That's interesting. Yeah. Whoa.
Then okay, this you can go very deep in all these subjects, of course, but we have these 5 guidelines for students in Bujinkan, put up by Soke, but of course it comes from previous Soke of Bujinkan, going back to a Soke called Toda Sensei. But the third one It's about, let's say, it's about greed, letting go of greed and desire. There are three main things here, but the first one is greed and desire, letting go of that. So greed and desire can very easily deceive us.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to having the correct heart, doing what is correct, not what I desire, my ego, but what is really the best to do here. So desire can be, you know, again, to sit and watch Netflix or, you know, whatever, eat a lot of candy. This might be my desire, but my real need is different. So I let go of all these desires. Desires will make a lot of disturbance in my life.
Yeah.
Greed and desire. Then the next one is interesting. It's letting go of the delusion that life should be easy and comfortable. Many people, they are deluded to think that life should be easy and comfortable. Let go of that delusion. Let go of that thought. Life is not easy. Life is not comfortable.
Yeah.
We have to go through a lot of struggle. And if we don't, we will not train our muscles to be stronger.
Yeah, it's true.
If we always try to escape hardship and difficulties, first of all, we cannot escape it, and we will get more and more of it. So it's by going through it that we will become stronger.
Yeah, that's important. Like, and then patience. That's when patience comes to play.
Yes.
To be accepted that it isn't easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't think life should be easy. It's not. Yeah, and then also let go of stiff ideas and concepts. So don't be stiff in your mind. Soke was really an amazing teacher, and that I had a chat with some friends on Facebook recently. There was this guy. I don't know if it was a politician or somebody, but some important guy, and he was live on BBC Live, and in the background there was a picture hanging with some Japanese or Chinese kanji, but they were flipped, so they were hanging upside down, and then it's easy to say, he should have checked that before the camera, and stuff like that, and he's stupid or whatever. And of course it was, I also thought it was quite hilarious that it was hanging upside down behind him. But I remember in the old days then that we had this training with Soke in London in '95, and on the T-shirt, the kanji for Bujin, it was flipped. So it was what we call spejlvendt in Danish.
Yeah.
You understand that? Yeah. So it was flipped, and a lot of people were bad-mouthing the host of the seminar that he didn't check that before the T-shirts was printed and stuff like that. But then Soke, when he saw it, he actually was extremely happy to see it. And he said, this is not wrong. It's just seen from the other side, from the back side. And as ninjas, we should be able to see everything from all kinds of directions. We should not be so single-minded, And by giving this teaching, he actually opened up my mind very much to see that everything is just a variation. You don't see it from the same angle always. See it from different angles. From the bottom or backside or whatever. And that created a lot. That released a lot of tension in my life, because now I don't have to go around and look at all the mistakes people do, because there's no mistakes in life. It's just another way of doing stuff. Who says that the letters should hang this way? You can hang them this way if you want. That's art.
Yeah.
And you can be happy. You can still be happy then.
That's.
And and a ninja can attack you from above or from below. If you train, most martial arts sports, nobody could hide themselves under the canvas with a spear and suddenly put the spear up through the canvas and attack you from underneath, right? Nobody would think about an attack from that side. But this is true martial art. there was actually a ninja who was hiding like that. One of the famous ninjas from old time. He was hiding for several days in the the hole where you take the shit in the old days, the hole in the ground. He was waiting in the shit with his spear until this person who was the enemy, he came, and then he killed him.
Oh my God.
So stories like that. It's like this is real life. You don't have these. Coming back to the teaching here from the third rule of our teaching, don't let go of stiff ideas and concepts. Letting go of stiff ideas and concepts. Don't think
Beautiful.
that as a martial artist should look like this. I mean, you can see some person on the street, like you would never think he is a martial artist. He might be hell of a motherfucker, you know. This is reality.
Yeah. It's yeah.
And so you see, the philosophy and the practicality goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
This should work for you in life. You should be a more happy person, a more protected person, and you should be able to protect your family and your loved ones even better when you have the philosophies. The philosophies are just guidelines for us to open our minds, to be able to, see the world as it is, not the great illusion as most people live in.
Yeah, I loved what you say about like, to see it from a different side, like, so like that's, and then I think like I can use it for myself, and I think people can use it for. So this also goes back to how to be adaptive. And don't be so stick-minded, and don't be so single-minded. And like when I look at my mistakes, now suddenly I can like use this and to see it like, wow, of all the mistakes I made, okay, I can see it from another view. Yeah,
it's really not mistakes. It's an endless endless procedure of temporary results. It's stuff like that. They called ninja kusa in the old days, grass. And if you step on grass, it goes down, but it goes up again. So we have this saying: fall 7 times, but raise 8. Always keep up, going back, stand up again. So this is the process you learn everything from. I mean, you also have this saying that the difference between a novice and a master, or a beginner and a master, is that the master failed a lot of more times than the beginner even tried. You have to fail and fail and fail. This is coming back to always being a student, never being a sensei, never be too proud to go on the mat and train and do stuff or live life. Don't be an audience to life. Be a player in life. Do it. Live.
Beautiful. It's like, and I
important.
think these are so important lessons to put into for those who are doing business, for those who are a leader. Like that's what comes into my mind, both for like for personal growth, how to help people, how to deal with business, and so important
for everybody.
For everybody.
For everybody. To be and live, we cannot think too much. Just do it and live. This is why we're called human beings, not human thinkers. We need to be in it. Be honest.
Beautiful.
So that is the number 3. So number 4, it's to realize that sadness and anger are natural parts of life, and actually to realize that they are, or to view them as gifts from the kami. In Japanese we have this Shinto religion, and we view the ancestors or God or the divine energy as this, we say kami. So we see it as a test, or a blessing thrown to us from God, to be sad, be angry, have these heavy emotions. It's really something we should learn from. And when we see it as that, not be disturbed by our sadness, or disturbed by the anger or whatever, but really see it as a blessing. It comes with a special message to us, you know. So when we see it like that, it can go for all the heavy emotions or heavy thoughts. When we realize that this is a blessing from God or from whatever outside, it's really a blessing to have these things. Then we can then it will be transformed, and it will be transformed into an enlightenment.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
That's also a guideline. So you don't be as a warrior, you don't have time to be disturbed by emotions and the thoughts. I mean, if you are in the battlefield and you suddenly feel sad, I mean, then your arm is chopped off. I mean, if you go into that emotion, there's no time for that. Or if you, whatever, stand and think about stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Thought for that. But we all have these emotions. It's human nature to feel sad and to be angry. It's part of life. So if it returns on a regular basis, I always am angry. I'm always sad when I wake up in the morning or whatever. I feel the world is against me and people are against me, or, you know, then start to analyze, you know, be curious. Why is this? Why is this happening to me? I mean, why do I need this? I mean, what didn't I learn yet? And we all have this. So it's when we recognize these emotions and thoughts, sometimes negative thoughts, as blessings, it's not so heavy anymore, and we really start to transcend them.
Yeah. So
that is number 4. Then you will eventually reach this what we call the immovable heart.
Fudoshin.
Yeah, Fudoshin, which is one of the most important things as martial artists, right? To be immovable, not be shaking in your pants when the shit hits the fan. I mean, be immovable. And this immovability is also an interesting beast, because many students, it seems like they don't understand. I mean, you cannot understand it. You can realize it really with Fudoshin. Immovable mind is maybe it's maybe the best translation, but it's not encompassing enough the real thing, because the immovable mind is not a steady mind. It's actually a very moving mind. It's an unfettered mind. So if the mind is very, you know, if you think the immovable mind is a very steady mind, if you put the mind in one point, I mean, if you have the opponent in front of you and you think about the tip of his sword, then your mind is being captured by the tip of his sword, and then you don't see the other opponent that comes from behind or from left, or because your tunnel vision is captured by the tip of his sword. If you think about that you have pain in your right foot, your mind will be captured by your right foot, or in your right foot. So you will not be aware 360 degrees. So a Fudoshin immovable mind is actually a very moving mind, a very free mind, but an undisturbed. It's not disturbed by any emotions and thoughts.
So like the Norwegian word would be urokkelig.
Urokkelig, right?
Yeah, in Danish. Yeah, immovable. Yeah. Immovable.
So it's not like a rock.
Yeah.
Because the rock, you can kill a rock. You know, you can just put dynamite into it. You know, it has no ability to move. It should be moving still and flexible.
Flexible.
So immovable mind is actually a very moving mind.
So like Fudoshin would also mean like flexible,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a concept that is important for be able to be immovable. So, you can go a lot into this. But the fifth one, not to make people too confused. The fifth guideline is to keep the connection and faith and loyalty. Always to keep the connection, the faith, and the loyalty. And to whom should we do that? Yeah, we should do it to a kami, to a thing that is bigger than ourselves, but also to our teacher, and I believe also to the whole community we have in the dojo, our buyu, all the friends in the dojo, to have the connection to them and the faith and the loyalty. And
so so how
the
can
faith
I can ask after.
There are many things here, but faith and trust is the first thing. And trust is very important. I remember one time Soga, he said, you should really have self-confidence. If you lack self-confidence, leave Bujinkan. It's like if you don't trust what you're doing, then you might end up in a very stressful situation. If you hire a bodyguard or some security people, but you don't trust them, you cannot sleep at night, right? You will not rest inside your mind. You will not have a calm mind. So you should really, because trust and believe that, a belief can move a mountain almost, right? If you really trust. And if you don't trust, you will have a negative placebo, and it's not good for you. So really trust, your belief is very much, your body will follow the mind, so to say, right? This body-mind connection. So this is very important to have a trust. It sounds religious, but it doesn't need to be. You don't need to have follow a specific religion, but if you don't trust in yourself and in your teacher and in the teachings, you will end up as a student who will not progress as well, because you will always look for other teachers, other martial arts, other ways to walk in life. And it's coming back to where we started. If you dig a hole, dig one place.
Yeah. And it comes back to focus as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I know. It's okay. Yeah. So when you talk about the truth, it's difficult to because we cannot understand with the brain. So we will lose focus sometimes. Then it's important to listen to this podcast again and again. If you're really a student of martial art, you will be inspired, but there will also be a lot of things that you don't understand first time. Then listen to it again, half year later and half year later again. Listen to it like many times over the years. Then a lot of things will reveal themselves between the words we speak.
It's like that was written in the book, the 9 Truths, like read between the lines.
Yes.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Like,
Then one should be, in the last one here, one should also, the loyalty to the teacher is very important. In this type of martial art, it's very important. It doesn't mean that you cannot. Now we live in peacetime in our part of the world, and of course you can be inspired by other teachers than your own root teacher or main teacher. You can cross train. It's not illegal, but be loyal to one teacher, because otherwise you will end up creating a lot of bad habits. There is a risk that you will build up a lot of bad habits, because different teachers will develop good students, good fighters, good warriors in different ways. So if you go a little bit this way, and then you go to another teacher, he goes a little bit this way, you will end up confused, and you will not have, like, it's like planting a tree. One place, the roots go very deep, but if you remove it, the roots will never be deep, and the tree will be not strong and big.
I love the picture of it with a tree, because like for my own life, like when it comes to be grounded in one place, it's important. It's important for many things, not only in life, but like in all parts of life.
Right.
Yeah.
So this, then also the last guideline here, the number 5, also tells us to be ambitious with both the pen and the sword. So it means that we should have one meaning could be that we should have a balance in life, not only train martial arts and then weapons and, learn how to kill people, but we should also be able to write a peace treaty, for example. We should also make peace. We should also be educated in other areas of life. Otherwise we'll be very single-minded, and our martial art will actually be better by having other things in life, playing music or dance, and read books and write and do podcasts.
Yeah.
Very important to have this life balance as a warrior. You need all these qualities. Otherwise you look like a martial artist, and as soon as you look like a martial artist, you'll be a target.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we started with talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it's all connected.
So one way to practice Bujinkan is really to read these 5 guidelines every day for yourself, and start to put them into your life more and more. Recognize, okay, where was I not patient? Where was I angry or sad? And then where did I not do the correct thing? Where did I do something where it didn't come from a good motivation? Start to recognize these things in your life and start to gradually correct them. So by reading them every day, there's a reason why the priest always say the same thing in the church every Sunday, year after year. It's because we need to hear them again and again. Otherwise, we don't learn. We say it to kids. We also say the same thing to kids. Remember this, do this, because they need to learn. They need to hear it a lot of times. So by reading for ourselves, or making the same kind of mantras or prayers or good wishes, you will start to change your mind as well. So this every day I train like this also. This is also a part of my training, to be grateful, to the Kami for life, to have one day more, and to be my family is protected, and my students are protected. I also, send out a protection to, and gratefulness for my teacher and stuff like that. I think it's very important. It's about being a good human being, and it go out and do good.
Beautiful. I'm out of questions, because when I hear about it connects, I can connect, it reveals a lot, for me at least, and hopefully for others as well, that they can see that martial arts isn't all about fighting. It's just if you really want to become a martial artist, you have to learn. You have to know about the philosophy as well, and the practicality, and of course the movements, and how to kill people. For some, the techniques are hard to kill people. It can, unless you have, if you take away one of the other things, it will die. You will die, and you will become if you don't have this, and if you don't teach this and learn about it, it will be damaging if you don't have the good heart. So that's
right.
Wow, this was very it was great to catch up and hear more from you, Michael. You have a lot of wisdom. I remember
most of what I have is still knowledge. I believe it's not matured into wisdom yet, but I'm also still young in martial arts. I'm only 50 years old. But I have a great teacher. My Soge in Japan, but also my other Japanese teachers, and Sven Erik, who was my main introduction into Bujinkan, and who has been my teacher always. Ever since I started. I think my life is just an example of the greatness of the teachers I had. Really.
Well,
I mean, we are in Japan, actually. When you go to Japan and train there, they always ask, who is your teacher? And you know, everybody in Japan is not evaluated only so much for themselves, but for the students they produce. Because you are not better than this. If you produce a lot of assholes, I mean, then it tells a lot about you, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Look at your kids, and you will see who you were or who you are. You know. So the apple doesn't. In Denmark, we say the apple doesn't fall very far from the trunk. Of the tree.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It is so true, and like that's something like that I'm aware of, in how I like raise my daughter, in the very few times I can spend with her, like few. I'm happy, like I'm happy like that I have the chance, and like
right.
So, like it's so important, like even if you're a parent and you're a teacher in martial arts, or you're a leader in business, or
we have to start with ourselves, right, and clean up our own shit. Otherwise we cannot benefit anybody else.
Like that's a perfect ending, like clean up your, but it's like sweep your own mats before you talk to others. Right. And we all need that reminder. We need it. I would say we need it daily.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael. And
thank you very much, Doug, for bringing me in again. And I hope it inspires somebody out there in the atmosphere. So at least it was fun to talk with you again.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it very much.
Same here.